Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well today. So before I begin, I'm just trying to figure out my mod situation real quick. I think someone has to join before I have a chance to be able to like give them like mod ship and whatnot. So I'm just working that through, and then I'll probably get a preface of where I'm gonna go of all this stuff. But I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm not gonna lie, I am so nervous right now. Like, I can hear my heart racing, but I just want to make sure I can get this mod situation thing sorted out, and then I'll just try. So, hello everybody. I appreciate you all being here. I hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm like, I feel so tired, but I think that's my body just trying to tell me like it's like preventing me from trying to do this. I I can't let myself like feel like I need to get off. My body is really just trying to tell me to stop, and I'm scared. Um, but again, I still want to figure out this mod situation, and then I'll go from there. Excuse me. I ate some ice cream earlier today. I kind of sort of pampered myself today because I've been really thinking about just all of this stuff, everything in between. I am, just thinking about what I would say, how I would say it, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully make it digestible enough for you all to like really want to listen to. It's I'm I'm so scared. I really am. Hello, Aces. The music's higher than my voice. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. Turn down war volume. Okay. What's mine? Okay, I see. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's I think I turned up the volume of like the thing itself a little too loudly, and that's my bad. Is that better? Does that sound better? Okay. Um yeah, one thing I want to ask, one more thing, cuz you're a staff member too. Do you want to be a mod as well just in case? And honestly, two mods, I'm good. I want ideally shooting for three, but I want to ask my staff first, and if I can just have two staff, I'm chilling. Then at that point though, the reason why I need it is because I'm closing the chat window. I'm not talking the chat this time. Oh, one more thing I need to do too. I just remembered. I just remembered. Give me a second. I'm gonna do it like this. Thank you for the confirmation, by the way, for the sound. Duh. You guys can hear that. Yeah, okay. What the heck? What's my mouse doing? Oh no, it's because I have two mices. I have my hand. That. And that. Pin message. Okay, I just want to disclaimer this stuff before I get into it. So I did that. Okay. Alright, I'll add you as a mod. And then I'm just gonna get started. Okay, that works. That works for me. But at the very least, before I close chat, I will say everybody by name. So, hi Hino, hi Iblis, hi Blitzian, hi Ollie, hi Fire, hi Shadeable, hello Iasis, of course, hi Cosmex. It's nice to see you actually, Cosmex. I haven't seen you in a while, but I'm very grateful that you're here. Hi Pokeboy, hi Bluehand, hi. I said Ollie. I said hi already, but I'll say hi again. Hi Atrox. Okay. Hi, Cali Cats. All right, I'm glad I got you all. For more people coming in, I hope and I anticipate you all can help me to ensure they understand what kind of stream this is. I'm telling you all right now, this is not a stream where I'm like intended to like, I'm not intending this for growth. This is a long form stream for a reason. And in fact, I don't even have tags. I am legitimately, wholeheartedly, 110% wanting to do this. This is something that I feel like could probably help me in the long run. So, and just, out of sheer experimentation, I just want to try. I love being able to talk to you all and just being able to take the chance to be there for you all. I don't really have to do this. Honestly, I don't want to do this. But maybe, just maybe, there's something out of it. And I'm willing to take that experimentative risk to show you all that A, it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, it hurts sometimes, yeah, but you gotta try sometimes, And B, I forgot what B was. I'm sorry. My nervousness is still running high, but the more core fundamental about it is just, I want to show you all it's okay to be vulnerable and to be comfortable. And, technically speaking, anybody can come in and see all this stuff. And I'm about to say something that I hold really close to myself. So I hope at the very least it does mean something to you all that I'm attempting to do this. So if you're here, like, it does mean a lot. It does mean the world. If you are curious about why I chose this world in particular, well, last year I actually did an event, and I had only a social circle rather, before I had an actual group, and I only asked 2 questions. The first question was, I forgot the first question, but second question was, what was the text or call or whatever you heard that like made you like completely regret, I believe, or like was one of the worst texts you ever received or worst calls. So I did that deliberately because December 9th was a very impactful day to me. It really brought my mood down all the time. I mean, it kind of sort of brought my mood down today, but I decided to myself as well, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do a social circle because I actually want to try to stand up against this thing. And I'll get to that, but I'm gonna start backwards, closer towards the very beginning. So I wanna make sure I can see everybody else that's still here. Okay, all right. I'll call you Graph. I'm sorry, but I appreciate you being here nonetheless. Okay, everybody. Listen, I love you all, but I close it all. I don't see any view counts. I don't see your chat. It's all closed. I'm just gonna start. It's better late than never, right? Better now than never. So, I have legitimately thought about how I would actually start this, because there's so many ways I can go about it. At first, I really just thought to myself, I was just making sure the camera is not like twisted or whatever. I really thought to myself that I would just do the main point of the story. But as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, I could technically go backwards because I feel like it's all like one flowing story, almost nearly closer to the beginning about with my parents and just over, honestly, up until where I am now. This is a checkpoint of my life. And I want you all to understand and know where everything came from to make me who I am today. And honestly, if I were to start somewhere, it has to be with my parents. My biological mother and my biological father. Now, I will say my stepfather is a very important matter of my life too. And my stepmother, while I don't have the strongest of terms with her, I still do wish her well as well. We don't really keep much in contact with her, but that's besides the point. She's also provided some fundamentals to me too. All 4 of them have played a very important role in my life to ensure that they can give some impact to me. Specifically, of course, my biological dad, mom, and stepdad. I will start with my biological dad because he's probably one of the most important ones for me. My biological dad was honestly someone you'd want to look up to. Someone who had the ability to just make people feel comfortable, to make them on their side, to have the chance to like be there for people. And the realization for all of that was when every time we would walk into the grocery store, the same one I work for, mind you, but every time we walk into the grocery store, I would any store in the local area, and there's like 10 stores around us, there would always be at least 1 or 2 people that would always walk up to him and just like have a conversation with him. Now, in hindsight, I don't really like that because I'm like, I always try to make sure I stay in work mode. But I didn't too focus on it too much. The biggest part I focused about was just him. These people had so much fascination. They were so excited to just talk to him. Like they made he made them feel special to the point where like they have to cut off their line of duty just to spend time with him. And they're not doing it because they have to. They're doing it because they want to. He helped establish a really strong connection to a lot of people. And frankly, he carried that all the way to his grave because once I mean, I can also talk about that as well, sort of, if I really want to. My father, at some point in time, him and I would always hang out together, basically on Mondays and whatnot, and it was nice. We had a chance to just actually connect. His stepwife moved to the Central Florida area, and I was able to what was it? And I was able to spend time with him because he stayed down for a bit. So those times that we spent were very nice, and you know, he gave me a lot of understanding of just how to be someone that could be like a leader, you know, someone you can look up to, someone that gives you the chance to be like, I want to be that person when I grow up. I want to be able to take that capability and be there for people and be something to someone. So he taught me that. I hold it to this very day. In fact, for some of you who maybe remember the story, I have a cross and I have his cross. And on the AC, like on the thermostat, his cross, my cross is in front of his cross. So it's almost like he has my back whenever he needs to. And I'm very happy to have that and just use that as matters of symbolism, because sometimes even if I tilt my head up, I look at it to remind myself he was the leader that I looked up to, and he's honestly a big establishment to what I am today. Now there's my mother, and I don't want to seem like my mother was insignificant to this all. She played a very important factor too. She taught us the matters of observation, to be successful, to make sure that we want to achieve goals and ambitions and be the best we can be. My mother was definitely the person that really instilled the habit of like, what's our next step? What's our next move? I always want to be a person that's kind of growing, more or less. I've lately learned that it's nice to take time and slow down a little bit, but you always have to make sure you have the next step in place. Always. You have to find that next step, and you have to capitalize on it when you see fit. Some steps are harder to capitalize than others, like especially adulting stuff. But my mother always instilled into us, like, at some point you have to do it. And you have to understand there's matters of consequences, because consequences drive just about things that you may not realize will drive you. For the younger ones out there that are not adults quite yet, it's a little bit, the consequences are not exactly apparent as like you're getting scolded at. The consequences are like health problems, safety problems, like financial concern problems. It's real consequences that can effectively strip you of your life. And thanks to my mother, she has taught me that it's nice to have a small, healthy sense of precaution in order to help drive some sense of ambition. It's a little weird sometimes, but as long as you know what you're like looking at and know how to keep it under control, then it's not too bad. That ambition helps me drive to do a lot of things, and honestly the ambition drives me to do this, VTubing and content creation as a whole. I can't be upset about it, and frankly I've kind of redeveloped an interest where like I just want to do a lot of things at once, and VTubing is just one of those things. So my mother has really helped me teach me a lot of things. She helped me experience a lot of things. She helped me have a better foundation of just how to be a person that could be prepared for the big boy world. They've always called me sheltered, but I'm kind of sort of proving them wrong. I am still kind of sheltered, admittingly, but I still want to make sure that I can stand up and be independent the best I can too. So my mother taught me the matter of independence and ambition to be able to grow to be the next step. And my father taught me the sense of leadership. And there's of course my stepdad, who taught me the matters of security and safety. Always making sure that things are definite and final, and you have to have backup plans, and you have to make sure you keep things check and sound, because safety is an important thing to have. You can have everything else crashing down upon you, like relationships, people's like friendships, dilemmas, drama, all that kind of stuff. But as long as you're able to go home and actually lay in your bed, that's safety. That's sometimes all we need. Just being able to just be to ourselves and actually go home where we can feel comfortable and be to ourselves. I know some of you don't have that, and for those of you, my heart really does go out to you, and I hope the situations do get better. But at the very least, you still have a place to sleep, and sometimes that's all you can ask for, or at least some people, sometimes that's all they can ask for. So I've always been taught those bare fundamentals by my stepdad, and I can't like rule him out of anything. He's been very important to me too. And of course my brother as well. He's taught me a very great sense of just, he's my dad, basically. But better, I would say. He even has the same disgruntled nature as my dad, which is funny. I've always called my brother a spitting image of my father. He just is. But the most important thing is that I love both of them all the same. I have this great memory, actually, of, hold on, let me get my water. I know I'm just yapping, but I want to make sure this is, like, robust as possible, so you guys don't feel like I just tantalize you all for nothing. Right. Reset this too. Reset, please. Yeah, thank you. Where was I? So, I've had this funny memory in my head, and it's like a picture, but like not a real picture. It doesn't exist. It only exists in my mind. But I remember the time where it was we went to Applebee's, and it was my father, then my brother, then myself. We were all sitting at the bar. I wasn't old enough to drink, but we still ate at the bar at the very least. None of us could actually drink. But we still had a way to just get past the wait time and meet some nice people, admittingly. But I just imagine me standing behind, like my present me, standing behind and just seeing all three. If I could go back in time, I would take a photo and I would make that, like, probably my wallpaper forever. I love my brother and I love my father, so much so, I would legitimately take a bullet for them, because those are the two most important people in my life. Well, of course, my father is no longer with us, but my brother is still a very important person too. And with the opportunities he's given me and the capability of just being able to grow and develop, and he himself growing and developing, with him having a fantastic wife and a lovely dog, and just overall being someone in this world, I always have felt like I could never catch up to my brother. Every time I compare myself, because him and I have basically worked at the same company, but every time I compare the progressions, it's like, oh, he got his house way earlier than me. Oh, he got a wife way earlier than me. He's just, effectively, I am so far behind compared to him. But I stopped comparing myself after a while, because I was like, if I just keep doing that, then all I'm doing is just hurting myself. And even further still, I just found my opportunities elsewhere I could. My brother dominates the real life a lot, and I'm not saying that I don't. I'm still a very strong person in my own accord, but he just definitely hit the ground running. He took way more risks than me, and that's really what helped him become who he is today. I'm a more safer person. I guess you could say that's a sheltered aspect coming through, but regardless, I still always want to try to find a way to do things while I feel safe. And well, this is me taking advantage of doing things while feeling safe. Frankly, I feel very uncomfortable right now, and I'm still probably going to feel uncomfortable as I slowly ramp up to this story, but I'm still taking my best effort to show you all the fundamental people in my life, the family that made me who I am. Everybody coming through. That is why they're all the most important thing to me, at least the four people: my mom, my stepdad, my brother, and my sister-in-law. Those four people take precedent over everyone else. And, I haven't mentioned my sister-in-law. She's fantastic too. And I'm very appreciative how much she's done for my brother, and how much those two are just to get built together for each other. They are strong in their own independent right, and I told them that many a times, because I feel like some relationships, people depend on each other a little too much, but they themselves can hold their own if necessary. And I think if anything, that gives them the chance to be able to be a really good husband and wife. I'm very happy for them, and by extension, I appreciate her a lot too. She's done a lot for me as well, and I honestly can't be any more happy to have such a sister-in-law. So those four mean a lot to me, and I want to make sure that I get that square and clear, because that's where they all come from. They all have developed my childhood life. They have made me who I am and help understand how I can be someone in the world. So now that I got my family out of the way, that was more or less the fundamental aspects of what brought me here. Now I must talk about my internet life. So my internet life has started at the ripe old age of 10. At the ripe old age of 10. I've been through many different chat rooms. I've talked to a lot of people. I've socialized on the internet a lot, actually, even before Discord was a thing. I had a mixture between, I used to be into My Little Pony, and I used to roleplay in that. I used to be a mixture of just doing roleplay in that, a mixture of just joining random chat rooms with video game clans, a mixture of, what was something else? I was in a Mario Kart Wii clan, I was in a Battlefield 3 clan, I was in a, what was it? I was in a, oh man, it's been a while. Oh no, we moved to Skype before Discord was a thing. We moved to Skype, we used some other chat rooms, we had other websites open up that like allowed for conversation of other people. I've been all over the place. I've done a lot. Now, I must be honest about something. During those times, when I was role-playing, I sometimes was a person that really effectively tried to exploit people. Now, I mean that honestly in a bad way, because there's times where I felt like, oh, well, you know, I can use my niceness and I can effectively take advantage of people, have them, you know, role play a particular way my way, and overall just make it seem like it's okay because I'm very nice and I just try to be very nice. I don't want to say the very accommodating part because, well, there was a point in time where I was a pretty bad manipulator, and sometimes I wouldn't realize even the damage that I was doing upon people until they would effectively walk away from me. For those people that would ever come across me on the internet ever again, understand that I'm sorry. Like, I'm still in frame. Sorry. I'm sorry. I've thought about it many a times. I wish there was ways for me to reach out there for some people. I can honestly think of like at least definitely one name off the top of my head, but there are a couple others too. They walked away and never came back. They never spoke to me again, and it didn't really mean much to me back then. But when I think about it now, I wasn't definitely the best person pre-major event. Now, before I go on to where the major event comes from, I actually need to start from the very beginning of the person who's involved in this. Now, I got hired at the job that I'm at in 2013, and I met this person around I want to say 2015 or 2016. They joined the company, and they were effectively like the same job class as me. I was one job class above them, so effectively I was their boss. But this person, they just clicked with me. Him and we became pretty good friends really quickly, actually. Like, after we started working with each other, we had really the random stupid jokes that we would say. I would even remember one time I showed him one video that I show. It's very, very long, but he just perfectly understood the dumb humor behind it. And he even joked it and mocked it many a times because, you know, he was laughing at it with me, reminding me about it. Him and I were really good friends. I love the times that we spent together. I still remember the one time when I was teaching him how to like close like the back office, basically like for the tills and for like the registers and bookkeeping and whatnot. And oftentimes he would keep me 30 minutes past his intended time. And I would just sit there and just look at him. I would never be upset. I'd never yell at him. I would just make sure to be as patient as possible. Because if there's one thing I'm very focused about, I just want to be a teacher to the people that I want to lead. But deep down inside, I saw him as a good friend. Someone that, well, you know, this guy has really good ambitions in his life, and I want to make sure I can be there for them. This is how I gauge my personal friends. This is why my real life best friend is my real life best friend, and a couple other friends that I met along the way. These people are pure in hearts and have great ambition, which is why I'm so thankful that I have a lovely chat and a lovely community such as you all. You all have great ambition behind you, but you know how to look at it in a positive way, and that you want to make sure that the next person around you just wants to feel safe and comfortable. Digressing, he had that, and I was very thankful that we had moments in time to just get together and just talk and enjoy each other's time. Eventually it came to a point where he moved very far away, but at the very least we still saw each other once a month. And every once a month that we saw each other, it was a fantastic time. And I'm very grateful that we could have those moments together. So, why do I say all this? July of 2021. It was one of our once a month events. Yeah, we were gonna go downtown, which we've done many a times before. It's, you know, just a nice time. Now, of course, we indulge. We are, of course, indulging, but he's always been pretty good. He's been pretty good at making sure he can handle himself and take care of things as necessary. So, and I was very confident in him that he could do so. Whatever the case, when we parked in the parking garage, we went to the first place we were gonna go to, the first bar. It was a pretty cool bar because it was like a bar, but it's also like a video game bar. It's really awesome, actually. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do over there. There's like skee ball, there's pool, there's an upstairs. They made it actually had an upstairs where they had an arcade and like they had more stuff. It's great. It was so much fun. It was so cool. But typically we went there because they had pretty cheap shots, pretty cheap drinks. For context, I will say, and this is gonna be a little relevant later, but there was a point in time where we, like a couple months back, where him and I actually went over there and we talked for a bit. And he he broke up with his girlfriend, or rather, his girlfriend broke up with him, and he did not take that very well. I still remember the time when I actually came over and I hugged him because I offered him a hug, and he cried. He cried in my shoulder. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. All I just knew is in the bare minimum fundamentals, I was there. I couldn't fix any of that. But at the very least, my most important goal was to make sure I can help him escape reality that night. Those were not the same night. That was a couple months ago, like I mentioned. But still that present month, that such a thing was still weighing over his mind. So I wanted to take the time to spend time with him. Of course, I love spending time with him, so I didn't really see it as a chore or anything. But anyways, after that first bar, we went downstairs and we thought to ourselves, oh, there's an escape room. Let's go to the escape room. And we walked it's pretty kind of far downtown. And this downtown was on the Intracoastal. So it's like, there's technically like water. This is Florida stuff, if you know what I mean. But whatever the case, we went to where we know the escape room was. Unfortunately, when we got in there, the guy told us, oh, hey, I'm sorry, we're not really accepting walk-ins right now. I mean, they didn't have anybody. I was kind of upset, but they probably have their reasons. They still gave us a coupon, so that was nice of them, I suppose. So anyways, we decided we were going to walk back over to the downtown area. And we took a little alleyway route. And I think it was this time. It was either this time or a different time. There was 2 different times where I walked down this alleyway. One time, I actually found a cucumber. Yes, a cucumber on the asphalt floor, and I picked it up, and I bit it. I was like, oh, it was so funny. But the other time, there was actually like the back of a phone, like legitimately the back of a phone. I don't know why it was, but it was just the back, literally the back casing of some phone. I think it was a OnePlus. But regardless, I just picked it up and I put it in my pocket as if that was that was my phone. And when we went to the next bar, we decided to am I still streaming? Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting a little antsy sometimes that my stream just suddenly ended for some reason. But we actually went to that bar. When we went to the next bar, I just pulled out my phone. I just pretended I was using the phone. It was stupid, but it was fun. But those were the good moments that we had. Just silly, stupid things that I kept showing. I was like, hey, look at this. And I just there's nothing to look at because it's not on the phone. Oh, good times. But then actually at that particular bar, when we got our drinks, I'm gonna get some water to wet in the whistle if you catch my drift. When we got our drinks, we actually went over we saw that there was a couple guys. We wanted to go play pool. They had a pool table in the back, and a couple guys actually approached us and like, you want to play twos? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And you know what? That was fun. That was an enjoyable moment, and especially I always look back at that moment many a times because it's like random people come in and all of a sudden we're just playing games together, and it's fun. You don't really think about it because then you start having conversation and you start understanding some things. Like for example, they said that they were ferrying back to North Carolina that same night, and I was like, that's so cool. These people from North Carolina just here for a day. That's awesome. And just sharing stories and experiences like that is so much fun. So regardless, after we played our games, we finished our drinks and then we move on to the next bar. Now this next bar is a pretty impactful one. We were walking back to our cars, and I think we were actually intending to just leave. But we were walking back to our cars, and to our right was this really, really vibrant bar. Like neon lights everywhere, very light, very vibrant, very loud. For people who've had a couple, they would look at that and be like, ooh, so pretty. And they'd be tantalized to effectively walk in. And walk in we did. Sat down, got some pretty good music, but it's really quiet. There's nobody there. And the bartender was a really nice person. They actually were very nice and pleasurable to talking to us and, just casual times. On the menu, there was a particular drink, if you will. It was called the Fishbowl. If you want to know for context, the Fishbowl is like 6 shots of like whatever liquor in a 32-ounce container. It's like a small goldfish bowl. 6 shots, 32 ounces. So 1/6 drink is alcohol. It's really bad. And I knew I could handle it. I definitely did. But my friend, I looked over to them and they have said they're gonna get it too. And I told them, like, hey, are you sure you wanna do this? And I legit remember telling them that. I'm like, I don't know if you wanna do this. And he's like, he slams the counter and he's like, I'm gonna get a fishbowl. I'm like, okay. So, as a bit of context behind that, there is really, I mean, at that moment in time, I thought to myself, there really is nothing I can technically do. Technically speaking, I could just tell the bartender, I'm like, no, don't serve him that drink. But the reality is, like, I did at least put some merit to him, like, not making such a very, very bold decision. Because, and as a secondary thing, I actually do have a Snapchat of that moment. But nobody, and I mean nobody from this community will ever see that. No, that's something I hold extremely close. Because that's something that I just look at to remind myself. I almost am half tempted to look at it now, because oftentimes when I do talk about it, I do like to look at it. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. But if it helps, it wasn't a good idea. I could just see his reaction right then and there. And we were enjoying ourselves, we were having a good time. I didn't think twice about it, usually. I finished mine, and it was strong. It hit, I will tell you that much. He couldn't finish his. And I still told myself, like, I got this, I can handle this. And I technically finished it for him. But it was past that point where he was just not all here. I started getting worried. And ultimately, it kind of led to a situation where I started fireman carrying him. This is, it's very scary to think about, honestly. Because, well, if there's police around, I think the story would be entirely different. So, now that I think about it, I am extremely, extremely lucky. But that's kind of digressing. My penultimate goal was to get him somewhere so he could relax. We actually made it to the first bar we started at. And I kind of threw him on the table. Excuse me, the couch. And I threw myself on the couch. And I was like, I was panicking. Even though I was feeling a lot of the matter myself, I was still panicking, thinking about what the next moves have to be. Like, I'm always that person that's always just like, mind's rushing, mind's crazy, I need to do something, what's going on, we're in bad situations. As I'm literally thinking all this stuff, hey! He can't be in here! Fuck. I was in such a bad state. And of course, it's not their fault. I was very apologetic. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I took him. I took him and I took him out. Right around the corner of that particular building was a metal chair. And I put him down on that metal chair so he could sit down at the very least. And I always describe this way because he was very groggy. And at some point, he actually leaned over and, well, a bit of TMI, but he threw up. And he fell in the throw up. And I remember, with my jeans that I was wearing, kneeling into that throw up to pick him up. I remember that moment so vividly, so much to the point where I can legitimately feel the vomit on my knees. He was complaining about not having air. Well, luck be have it, the garage is across the street. Once more, I hobbled him over to his car. Got him into his car. He made it. Yay. He's safe. Helped him turn on his car. Got the AC on full blast. And I looked at him. Before I went to my car. And I left. Now, for some matters to explain here. Why did I leave? Well, again, and this is why I preface by saying I love my mother very, very much. But my mother was also very curfew-oriented. And I was very fearful of breaking something like that. I was admittedly more concerned about the matter of my mother being upset and potentially causing animosity in the household versus my friend and what they may do. But secondarily speaking, I thought to myself, my friend has made it home many a times, and I'm pretty sure he knows what to do if he's in a really bad spot. I don't fully recall this, but I'd like to say at some point I did mention that he should not drive yet, maybe take a nap or something. I always mention that to all of my friends that get pretty inebriated, and they usually abide by it, so that at the very least they can recover before they go on the road. It's not the most ideal solution, but it's a better solution than trying to just tough it out and drive home. But, well, the next morning rolled around, and I receive a knock at the door. It's his mom. And his mom is crying, panicking, worried. Now, I will say this. She knocked around 10 a.m. or whatever, and she could knock just fine. My parents wouldn't realize it. My parents do not know this, actually. And this is crazy because I got to tell them this at some point, too. But whatever the case, my parents were out at work, and I would never drink like that unless I had the next day off. So, and I did. With that being said, when she knocked, and I mean, they didn't hear it, but she was still there, and she said, "Help. Please help me, Roller." He left the county jail. Oh, excuse me. Backwards. He tried to drive out from the parking lot, and he hit a large pickup truck, and he effectively totaled his car, and the police came over, and they took him over to the county jail. And he just got out 8 hours ago, and he didn't contact us, and now we don't know where he is. My mouth was so wide. I was so scared. So, you know what? I took a call to action. I wanted to follow along with her and just started driving around, seeing where I can go. I followed estimation paths because I took an assumption he was trying to go home, but home from there was an hour walk. But at least I knew the most ideal path he would take if he wanted to go home, and I started driving along that. Before they did that, this is a bit of a tangent, I know, but this is kind of a place part of the story to help kind of round out the story. I remember there was this kava bar that I had to go to a lot, and I remember that there was one person that was a bartender during that time. It was 1-2 people, but I needed something to calm my nerves because that was really intense. He served me a drink, and I told him, hey, if you ever see someone around here, by this particular description, please just give me a call and let me know. I was so panicked and so worried. I was trying my very best to figure out, please, just if anyone sees a glimpse of him, please just reach out. And he was pretty receptive and very nice. Of course, it doesn't happen this way, but I was still doing that in just a desperate attempt to just be please give me my friend back. I'm so worried. Until eventually the mom calls me and states to me that we found him. He was at a gas station. To put this into context, I pass by that gas station a lot. And I always make sure when I pass by, I'll stare at it for a good moment. Because it was that moment where we found him, where he called out to us, and I was the first there. I remember when I walked in, and he was by the coolers, and I just stood in front of him. He looked so dejected, so defeated. His clothes were so tattered. He had some cuts on him. He looked dead. Or maybe that he wanted to be dead. Whatever the case, the mom eventually came and hugged him and just consoled him the best she could. And then, she thanked me for my efforts, and then she went off and they went to the hospital together. Now, for context, I will say this. The mom does not know what actually happened. At least not during that point in time. Because then a couple weeks happened afterwards, and I was sending him a couple texts where I was like, we're going to get better. We're going to go to the gym instead. We're not going to go drinking anymore. We're just going to go to kava bars because that's much easier on people so they don't get really badly inebriated. And all different kind of stuff. I was just trying to find any and every opportunity to still find a way to make up for this. Because being honest, kind of going back a bit, I know it's not really my responsibility to be there and make sure that he's okay. But what kind of leader would I call myself? One that I established myself to be one that I strive as hard as I can be for me to be there for those I care about. What kind of leader does that? Abandon their friend. So a couple texts later, and I stopped talking to him because I was scared. I was fearful. He said he didn't hate me. He said he wasn't upset at me. I was upset at myself. I got in my head. I got fearful that he didn't want to do anything with me or just talk to me or anything of that sort. So from July all the way until December, nothing. But in December, I told myself, in January, I'm just going to cut the bullshit and I'm going to talk to him again. I don't care if he scolds me or is mad at me or blocks me or anything of that sort. I just want to make sure that I can be there for him. I just want to make sure he's okay. December 9th rolls around, and we were on a family trip up to Central Florida to see my brother and go to SeaWorld, you know, all that fun stuff. It's a family trip for us to enjoy our time. Halfway through the drive, I got a buzz on my watch. I read it, didn't think much of it. It was from his mom. Hey, I wanted to reach out to you to let you know your friend lost to hopelessness. Thank you for being his friend. I got home. I got there. Before that, excuse me. My soul escaped my body for like just a brief moment. It was like a shock that felt like it like punched me back. I didn't feel like myself for just 1 second. And I was scared because I had 2 other people in the car. My parents. I just wanted to scream. I just wanted to cry. I just wanted to call her back and just get answers. Why? But I held my cool. I didn't want to make my parents worried or just bring a lot of things down. Because news like that is very off-putting and can hurt a general vibe. I even understood that way back when. Plus, sometimes I like to be a little bit secretive from my parents for certain things, especially when it comes to my friends. As a bit of a weakness, but they've been better. I'll give them credit. They're pretty judgmental, and I've always kind of kept a secret of life like that to them. So regardless, I didn't want them to think about it or really worry or all that kind of stuff. Or the worst part is just think to myself and have them say, oh, it's no big deal or whatnot. We got to the resort, and I did tell my parents about the whole matter. And, you know, they were kind of quiet about it. They didn't really say much in the way of it. It didn't seem like they were being supportive about it, but I still had an opportunity to excuse myself, to call the mother. And that is where I explained everything to her. I explained the whole story and everything surrounding it, just to make sure she understood what I thought was one of the biggest problems of why he might have wanted to commit hopelessness. Well, it turns out there were actually 4 things involved. The 4th one is kind of speculative. The second one I know for sure, and the first one is also speculative because of the mom. The first thing is his childhood friends abandoned him. They abandoned him somewhere where they just, stop playing with him, stop talking to him, and, starts developing abandonment issues. The second one was his girlfriend. The girlfriend was honestly a huge blow, and he was very, very upset about that. He mentioned it a lot. He really just had a hard time seeing life past that point. It was a huge blow. But I was there at least to try to make him feel better and make things feel, a little more lively until he got his DUI because of that whole circumstance. And, well, after that, he managed to get a clunker car because his previous car got totaled. And he loved that car. And he was working it up, and he would do everything he could to, find time to distract himself. It was a fun hobby, something that allowed him to just do something, be profitable, be productive. It eventually came to a point where, and this is speculative, mind you, it came to a point where even his father gave up on him. And I think honestly that wasn't the biggest impact, but that was the final nail in the coffin. But there were a couple other things that happened in that call too. When I told her up to the moment where I had him go in the car and I left, she had this really hard question. A question that I never could answer. More recently I can, but I just couldn't answer it to her. And that question was, why did you let him get in the car? And again, why did you let him get in the car? Just pleading. Desperate. Something. Why did you let him get in the car? I'm a person who loves to be able to answer all questions that come my way. But that was one of the only questions I couldn't answer. It hurt. It rings in my ears sometimes. But at that point, there was nothing I could say. Because nothing I'd say would bring her son back. Regardless, I just asked for matters of like funeral arrangements potentially and all that kind of stuff. I unfortunately never got it, and I understood so. But afterwards, I did call my real life best friend, and I cried. I still remember the thing that I told him. I told him, listen, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you very much, and I'm very happy that you're here. I remember also I did something else where I had one of my internet friends who had financial concerns, and I'm usually not one that likes to give out money that much anymore because I need to make sure I can secure my own finances. I remember I had a friend at that point in time who I thought was rather, hopelessness is, and I gave them $100, and I told them, I lost one of my good friends. I just wanted to make sure you could be okay. I feel like I missed a part of the story, by the way. The reason why December 1st is the significant event is because that's when he actually did what he was going to do. I don't want to say how he did it because it's rather graphic, but December 1st is when he did it. And I got told all this information on December 9th. That is why December 1st to December 9th, it's kind of like a pseudo memoriam for me, for him. Because I want to make sure I can take the opportunity to reminisce, remember. This story hurts. Even to this day, I didn't think I would cry, but I did. And if anything, I still hold the story close to my heart. It defines a lot of things about me, and it really challenged me to be a different person. But it wasn't that easy in the very beginning. The month after this whole ordeal and this spiel, I got promoted to become a manager. And that started new challenges for me and new opportunities. I had a really good store manager that I loved and helped cultivate me. It helped me remember, just being a real person. he was helpful in a lot of ways too, and I very much cherish him for what he's done for me. But then in March, on this Emaplee roleplay server, I found a particular person. I wanted to roleplay with this person, and I think I had a new premise where I wanted to make sure if I'm going to roleplay, I want to know the person a lot more than I want to know the original character. So, we roleplayed a couple times that I've had chances to talk to them. You know, get to know them. They seem like a really pleasurable person, and I actually enjoy the time I spend talking to them. There came a point in time, though, where they themselves were having dilemmas and problems within their own life. I don't want to get too much into details because it is their own personal life, but they were undergoing really hard dilemmas they had to deal with, and they were going to have the idea of hopelessness under their head. Again, I felt like I was put in a bad situation, and I mean in a bad situation, it's like I'm in this bad situation again. But this time, you can make a difference. You can make a change. And so, I tried. I tried a lot harder. I tried in my best interest to remind her that there's still hope in this world. That there's still a purpose to be here. And for what it's worth, I wasn't that good at talking. All I just knew was just maybe distract you, maybe do this, maybe do that. And you know what? It worked. She was okay. For now. Because there was matters after matters after matters. And you know what? I didn't back down. I didn't say this is too much. I didn't say I can't handle it anymore. I kept going. I kept continuing to be there for her. And it made me stronger every single time that I did it. Being able to tackle the next situation just easier, more capably. Of course, it got easier because I got to know her some more, and we've had some really strong. Well, actually, this was before we got into VR chat, but I've got to know her well enough where eventually, when I bought the Quest 3, I actually shipped my old Quest 2 to her, and from there, once we joined each other in VR chat, our friendship really popped off. We've got to know each other a lot more. We've had deep one-on-one conversations. We got to be able to just be there for each other. She was definitely one of the first people that made VR chat really enjoyable for me. And honestly, she herself helped me a lot when it comes to matters of VR chats. But before I go into about the VR chat matter, I want to talk about where I think a lot of this has been redeemed. I one time bought her like this little like green dinosaur plushie, and I bought it because I was like, oh, does it make you feel happy? Okay, then I'll buy it for you. It's $15. Who cares, right? I remember a couple months later, she had a very bad incident, and she said she was going to lose the hopelessness. But I remember she texted me, and she said I was going to do it. But then I remembered one thing. And the most important thing that I remembered was that I was scared that I was going to have to send, she called it Tree. I had to send Tree back in a box to tell you the news. So, in some great indirect way, I saved her. I think I cried because it felt like redemption. It felt like I did something. I saved somebody. I did it. Of course, it wasn't full redemption. I still feel like a mistake is a mistake. I still feel like in some indirect way, I do have blood on my hands. But for a moment, the score was even. I understand. So anyways, when we started getting into VR chat, she found this Nevermet it's called. It's like this virtual dating site. And she actually invited me to a VR chat group, one of the first ones that I went to. Now, of course, I will keep their name private because other dilemmas happen, but this is all part of the story, so I must explain. And they let me join in. It was an 18+ community, and their primary focus was doing social circles. Now, once I started joining in and actually, doing what they asked, I think the first event I joined was actually something called a mixer. The mixer is like you all get into a circle, you get asked a question, and you break off into groups, and you all talk to each other. I think I probably want to do that myself. They had some really creative ideas, and I got to give them good credit. Um, they were a pretty good group in how well they were structured by the end of the day. But my friend brought me there, and it gave me a chance to actually open up and explain who I am to people. Like, the same yapping you see right now is the same yapping I was doing about a year and a half ago to other people in a circle setting. And you know what? I started seeing people. I started hearing people. I started understanding people that, like, maybe they have some matter of, like, loneliness inside of them. And I specifically targeted those people. I always found those opportunities where someone maybe that's just sitting aside, or someone maybe just needs a little more clarification to what they're saying. I always specifically targeted those people because I wanted to make sure I can understand their story. I was very focused on ensuring that I can figure them out and be there for them. Some of these people, they were just really popular and all this good stuff, and that's all well and good for them. I was focused on the person that didn't feel like they belonged. I was focused on the person that was scared of just even speaking in the first place. I've told them this, and this probably wasn't the best idea to say because it sounds insulting, especially as a community leader myself now. I would always say I don't need this group because a lot of the people that were in there were just very, very I say emotionally depressed, like socially depressed. They had a very hard time just connecting with people and finding a way to being able to do so, or at least speak their mind out there. I didn't. I didn't have that difficulty, but I still did it anyways, and it honestly felt good to just talk to people that actually want to like bounce back and have discussion with you. That is why I'm so particularly focused on my social circles, to ensure that I make it sound like I'm kind of having a conversation with you personally, or at least that's the way I see it, because I need to make sure I give you proper feedback so you can feel like you've been heard. Sometimes they didn't do it. Sometimes some of the community members did not do it, but I'm talking about for the other group, did not do it those when they hosted circles. But it was still a good vibe because I got to see other people and I got to see how they spoke in the world and how they function and how they process things. So about, what was it? I think about like 5 months later in that group, I actually found someone that really, really spoke out to me. And that person is my VR girlfriend. I will not say her name because I'm pretty sure she's trying to become a content creator as well. And also I want to make sure that I can respect her peace as best as possible. But when I met her, we were at one of the mixers, and before that we were actually talking in this Discord server, and we were kind of like vibing with each other, speaking well in the general chat and all that stuff. And then we got into the mixer, and then that very same day, or the day before, I was told by my first prospect girlfriend, the first person I was trying to go for as girlfriend, just basically said no, it wasn't going to work. So I was very upset and very down during that time. But I took the opportunity by saying I'm going to go to a mixer and try to like talk my feelings out. My ex at that time was in that same event too. And we managed to get into a small little group. And we mentioned what was our thorn, like as in like what was our bad moments. And I mentioned the matter of my prospect girlfriend, but not girlfriend. And she mentioned she had a surgery coming up, but also that she also broke up with her boyfriend recently. And so then I was like, you know what? We'll talk after. And we did. And she was amazing. She spoke so well, and she spoke in a way where, granted, she has autism, but she's proud of that. She was the person that really took the time to tell me that a disability should not be considered a disadvantage. That they just want to be seen as regular people too, or not looked at any other way. The first conversation I had with her blew me away. She made me very, very, very proud. Excuse me, not proud. She took me by surprise. I didn't expect that, but I was still very, very loving of the time we spent together. Then it led to eventually, like not even like 5 days later, I did a first date before her actual surgery. And I did 3 worlds. I did like a little what's that called? There's like vegetables and you have like chopsticks and you put your thing in there, you eat it. I forgot what that world is called, but there was that world. And then we went to a world called Poco P Land. In fact, we all may go there someday because it's a huge world. But Poco P Land is legitimately a theme park, one massive theme park, and it's actually really cool. So we went there and we actually saw fireworks. I still have the video. I recorded a video of her and I looking up at the fireworks going off. And the last world is actually my home world, the underwater bedroom. So when her and I were laying there, actually no, excuse me, that wasn't the last homeworld. That was for my first girlfriend that I tried. For her, I actually went to this like Pokemon world. It's kind of weird, but it was very beautiful scenery. And I actually told her the story that I just told you all about my friend and his hopelessness. I remember when I finished and that I threw myself to the ground. She told me a very sad story about her cousin. And she even told me even down to the final interaction that she had with them. I didn't hesitate twice when I told her, hey, yeah, I love you. No hesitation. I'm very, 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 very thankful for her. It's a matter of argument. I still love her. Why did I break up with her? She had a lot going on, and I just so happened to be someone that could take a lot of trauma dumping. Well, oftentimes, even sometimes where we would have dates, they would be broken off because her emotions were too strong. I didn't necessarily blame her, but it eventually came to a point in time where it just really started invading me and really started questioning like the traits that I consider in a girlfriend. I don't want to say what those traits are because I'm not trying to signify her weaknesses here. I'm mostly specifically targeting her strengths. But I was the one who broke it off of her. And admittedly, I kind of regret it, but I also kind of don't. I love my independence. I love being able to just be by myself and taking the time to do stuff like this. On, a Tuesday night like this. I close tomorrow. I can be anywhere I want. But I want to do this because I want to commemorate this day for what it is. Whatever the case, she also brought me to another group. And this group even further helped me improve myself. In fact, some of the structures of some of the VR chat events you all participate in, some of them are structured because of this group. They had some really good ideas. They had very accommodating leaders, especially one of them. I remember, I can exactly point when, if I were to explain, it was actually with the help of them and giving me the confidence that eventually I built this confidence to where last year, in December 9th, I was in this exact world, and you all are exactly sitting where I was. Why am I not over there? I wanted the moon in the background. And this leader in particular was sitting over there. He said a very sad story, and my heart goes out to him because he is a very, 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 very foundational and strong leader, one I honestly look up to. He was an ex-military person, so he has a lot of discipline, and frankly, I'm very, not jealous of it, but I'm very thankful of what he can show me and what I can be. And, a little bit fast forward, coming to this year now. This year, I broke up with my ex, and I got kicked out of that first VR chat group. And eventually, by extension, before I left the second VR chat group, I didn't really have a purpose to go in the VR chat anymore, except for like one event. But I had full body tracking, and I had I don't have this particular headset, but I have full body tracking, and I like getting high, I like listening to music and all this kind of stuff. So why don't I just go in and dance like a silly little goober and just, you know, change avatars in Prismic's avatar search? And so I did. And it was fun. I was just enjoying my time. I was like, wee, look at me go. Avatar searching. But then at some point, just clicking random avatar research, random avatar search, I land on this. Not this exact avatar, but this general fundamentals. If it helps. This one. It spoke out to me. It felt like me. So I continued forward with it, and I built more confidence in using it until eventually I started a YouTube channel. 0 subscribers. I told nobody. I just did it. I just wanted to start something. And I had a good premise. I wanted to show off VR chat worlds, which is ironic because for a while I was really bad at naming VR chat worlds, but I was really focused on doing it in my earlier stages. So I don't know, it's kind of weird, you know? Anyways, I'm better about it now. But anyways, I just started posting videos. VR chat world finds, VR chat world finds, VR chat world finds. Void, first commenter, came in and spoke to me and said hi. And, you know, that supported me. That encouraged me to keep going. I did take a 2-month hiatus at some point. I was like tired. Like I felt like it wasn't good enough. But eventually I came back. And I still remember when I had my 5 subscriber appreciation video. And then 10 and then 50. And I was just moving up the ranks and more people started joining until eventually I got comfortable enough to live stream. And live stream, of course, was 0 to 1 viewers more often than not. Until eventually I started getting like, you know, 2, 3, 3, 4, and then 7, 8. And then about like, I got up to 1.63. And I was like, what? But that was like a large spike. But, you know, these days I sit around like 9 or 10, which is perfectly fine by me. I like a smaller chat. I want to be able to talk to you all, even though sometimes I'm really bad at it because I just go on yapping sprees. But then I got my Discord server where I started having people join the Discord and being able to have a chance to be there for each other and talk to each other. And granted, you are really fantastic for each other. I do read around the Discord, especially the mental health, and oh my goodness, you all are so amazing to each other. I don't understand how I could be any more thankful for such a great community. Like, you guys are awesome. And this goes by extension into my VR chat events as well, where everybody's so respectful, so enjoyable to be around. Just wanting to have fun, just wanting to forget reality, just wanting to be somewhere, to laugh, love, have fun, do kooky things, do stupid things. I want you all to know something, okay? You guys are legitimately my pride and joy. You guys are the reason I keep going. And in exchange, why don't you get to know me a little bit more? I could just sit here and just go off on cranky tangents about why this is all so important, why I wanted to do this. I just hope you all understand where I'm coming from now. I have learned to just accept things as they come and understand how to see the objectivity of things, to make sure that I can be accommodating to you all. If you think you're being harsh or, you know, judgmental to me or anything of the sort, I look at it in face value and I help take care of it. I make sure that I can accept some punches. I make sure I can pull some punches. I'll make sure I won't really try to go for the jugular unless you're a troll. Then you're in trouble. I'll tell you that much. If there's trolls in the chat right now, you're just lucky my chat is closed. But whatever, and that's why I have mods too. Mods, get them. Billion. Anyways, no, but no, legitimately, I feel good. I feel so much better. This smile is... I did it. I did it. I was so scared. I was so worried. I was fearful that I was gonna crack under pressure or maybe just be a sobbing mess. But you know what? I did it. I did it. I won. It's gone. The guilt, the pain, the suffering. It's gone. Do I guarantee it won't happen next year? No. But you know what? At least this time, I can look at this and remind myself that I did it. I did it. I think that's all I got. What time is it? It wasn't too bad. I didn't want to take too long of your time, but it was nice. Thank you. Truly. Wholeheartedly. You have just contributed to me being a better person. I want you to remember that, please. Thank you. I think that's it though. And that's my energy. At least that's my live stream energy. I hope you all have a good night. I don't know if I'll be on the Discord server. I think I just need to go get lost for a minute. But you know what? I love you guys. Thank you. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm forgetting one thing. I'm forgetting why I do all of this. Why I am who I am. Listen, everybody. And this is like a final call to action. To give you all the inspiration to keep going forward. I forgot this part. On December 1st of the year after, I actually reached out through text to the mom. I got a text back saying that it was the dad. And he told me that the mom lost to hopelessness on... I hope I'm still live streaming. Oh, I'm still live streaming. Otherwise I would be told something else, right? Okay, I think I'm still live streaming. I turned off my panel, remember? I got worried about that the most randomest time! I just felt like it'd be really bad if all of this was just completely said to nobody. Docs. I'm gonna do this real quick. No, that's not it. Yes, that's it, but I don't want to do that. Docs. YouTube live control panel. Select stream. I'm live! I'm still live. I did it. I'm so good at this. Whatever the case. Because my biggest concern came to the matters of like me saying like, what is it? Me saying like hopelessness and that translating to you know what. But my most important part is that she lost to hopelessness on Mother's Day too. And that usually makes me sad, but now I'm just deterministic and optimistic. I need you all to remember something. Every single one of you, remember this. Hear my plea. Your appreciation goes a long way. The chance to be able to make a difference into the world. The ability to just make someone smile. To be able to make that impact. To make that positivity, that change in the world. Sometimes just the opportunity to reach out to somebody. To remind them. Let them know, hey, I'm thinking of you. If you have not reached out to someone recently, I highly suggest that you do so. That person may need more help than you might realize, and if you take that moment for them, they will never forget that. Just remember, we can all solve the battle of hopelessness, and if I can sit here and tell you my motives, and to hopefully help prevent it from ever happening again to people around your life, then I'll do whatever it takes to make sure I let you all know hopelessness is never the answer. Thank you. Truly. I appreciate you all so much. It's been a fantastic live stream, and I'm forever grateful to be able to outreach to you all and let something so close to me now be let free. I'm sure it'll come back next year and haunt me, but this year I took a really large leap, and I'm very, very proud of myself. And I hope, if anything, for those of you still watching, or maybe who will even watch the VOD, I hope you... Where was I going with that? I hope you know me a little bit more. I hope you feel like you understand me. And maybe, hopefully, you know what my reasons are. So you can be the best you can be. I appreciate you. I love you. I cherish you all. Mwah. You all are lovely. Now I seriously need to get off, because even my live stream social battery went past its point. But you all are lovely. And I hope if you're watching this now, or maybe in the future, you take care. And I do hope my message gives you some hope that the world can be a better place with you in it. Have a good night.